Sister emails from New Jersey. She wishes to remain anonymous for reasons you will see. And she says that someone has wronged her, taken her rights, slandered her, and has made her feel extremely hurt and angry. And because of all of these transgressions, this sister has made dua against that person. She says that after a while, that person's spouse passed away. And the spouse had not done any wrong to the one making dua, but now she feels an immense amount of guilt that did my dua cause the death of the spouse of this person that I made dua against? And am I sinful in making dua against this person? Is there any penalty that she has to do that she thinks that the death that happened might be as a result of her prayer that she did?
وما أرسلنا من قبلك إلا رجالا نوحي إليهم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون.
So, dear sister, realize that let's first talk about the dua of the madhloom, the dua of the one upon whom wrong has been done. Our Prophet ﷺ said, hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim, beware of the prayer of the oppressed, for there is no barrier between it and Allah. فَإِنَّهَا لَيْسَ بَيْنَهَا وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ حِجَابٌ. There is no barrier. It's going to go straight to Allah Azza wa Jal. Beware of the prayer of the oppressed. And our Prophet ﷺ said, 3 are the prayers, du'as, that shall be responded to without a doubt. Number 1, the prayer of the father for his children. Number 2, the prayer of the traveler. And number 3, the prayer of the one who has been wronged. And that hadith is in Abu Dawud. And our Prophet ﷺ said, 3 du'as are never returned. Number 1, the just ruler. Number 2, the one who is fasting until he breaks his fast. And number 3, the one upon whom an injustice has been done. It is carried all the way to the clouds and the heavens open up for it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I swear by my honor and I swear by my glory, I shall help you, O one in distress, O one who has been wronged, even if it is after a while, but I shall help you. And hadith. This hadith is in Musnad Imam Ahmad. Now these ahadith and others, they tell us that the prayer of the one who has been wronged is always answered. This indicates there's nothing wrong with praying to Allah against the one who has wronged you. This is completely permissible. Otherwise, the Prophet ﷺ would not have encouraged it. And this is in fact a manifestation of Allah's infinite justice. Allah does not allow injustice, and Allah despises injustice. And where injustice occurs, then those upon whom injustice has been done, they have every single right to raise their hands to the King of Kings. And they have every right to beseech the one who hears all, and the one upon whom nothing is lost, and to call out to Malik al-Mulk, and to Rabb al-Samawat al-Sab' and the Rabb al-Arsh al-Azim, and to say, Ya Rabb, I have been wronged, and no one can help me other than you. Ya Rabb, you are my Mawla. Ya Rabb, hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for me. Ya Rabb, upon you is the one who is doing dhulm, who is slandering me, who is lying about me, who is spreading evil and malicious, complete fabrications. Ya Rabb, you are the one who shall deal with them. You have every right, sister, to raise your hands to Allah against the one who has wronged you. Whether that wrong is financial, whether that wrong is emotional, whether that wrong is physical, any dhulm that has been done against you, you have every right. Now, of course, you have the right to forgive, you have the right to go to court, you have the right to seek justice, and of the rights that you have is the right to raise your hands up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Him to correct your wrong, and ask Him to take care of the wrongdoer, and ask Him to punish the one who has wronged you. Obviously, a punishment that is commensurate to the wrong that has been done. You have every right. Now again, wrong has been done to you, you should not ask for more than what has happened to you. So you can ask Allah that, oh Allah, I leave it to you to deal with my tyrant, with my zalim. I leave it to you to take care of my the one who has harmed me. And your dua to Allah is completely permissible. Now, you have to also separate that the death of a person has nothing to do with your dua. Your dua will not change when that person's death has been destined. Death is something Allah has destined from above the 7 heavens. It is written down, it is decreed. No matter what your dua is, it will not change the time of death of the other person. So let us separate. You are allowed to make dua against the one who has wronged you. You may ask Allah for your rights. You may ask Allah to punish that person. You may ask Allah to deal with him or her in a manner that is just. No problem. After this, what happens? And especially the death of another person, that's not on you. Clearly, this is something that is not relevant to your dua. The person's death or whatnot is not something you are liable for, much less you caused it. No, Allah is the one who decides when people pass away. No other person can influence that. And Allah Azza wa Jal will decide how to punish this person. So, if that person was punished in this manner, which we don't know, that is something that Allah has decided to do. You are not liable. And if this person, the spouse, was not guilty of anything, don't worry. It's not as if you are sinful. Allah will deal with them in a merciful manner and whatnot, and their time came when their time came. But you are reading in too much, and you do not know what punishment that Allah will prepare for the one who has done dhulm to you. So you leave that person's affair to Allah and you move on with your business, and you will get your reward on the day of judgment. And in this world, if you don't get your justice, which hardly anybody does in this world, don't worry, put your trust in Allah. So the bottom line, and with this inshallah we conclude, anybody upon whom dhulm has been done, injustice has been done, you have the ultimate right to raise your hands to Allah and ask Allah to deal with the perpetrators of injustice, and make dua to Allah, and Allah shall answer your dua. After that, what happens, it's not something you are liable for. And also, you do not know, was it your dua that, even suppose he was in an accident or something happened, or the business came down or whatever, you do not know, was it really because of your dua or was it something else? And it's not as if you are liable, because if your dua was answered, well then Allah Azza wa Jal dealt with that person in a manner that was best befitting for that person. And if it was not answered, well then how do you know? So therefore, in either scenario, you have done your dua and you are not liable for what happens. There is no need to feel guilty. There is no need for any kafara in this regard, nothing of this nature. And you are not sinful in the slightest to make dua against the one who has wronged you. And this also should be a wake-up call for any amongst us who is doing injustice to any other person. Our Prophet ﷺ said, injustice shall become darknesses on the day of judgment. Al-dhulmu dhulumatun yawm al-qiyamah. And there is no sin that is more difficult to forgive than injustice. And our Prophet ﷺ said, beware of hurting or harming any other person, and the day of judgment will come and there will be no back and forth except with good deeds. So anybody who has done a wrong in this world should resolve it in this world before the next. Our Prophet ﷺ said, in the next world there will be no money, there will only be good deeds that will be given, and we don't want to give our good deeds to anybody else. So be careful, dear brother or sister, of doing dhulm to anybody. And those upon whom injustices have been done, those whose reputations have been slandered, those whose feelings have been, those who have been rights have been taken away, they have every right to ask Allah, and Allah Azza wa Jal will indeed respond to the dua of the madhloom. And with that, inshallah ta'ala, we come to the conclusion of today's Q&A. Until next week, jazakumullahu khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
فيا ذلي ويا خجلي إذا ما قال لي ربي أما استحييته تعصيني ولا تخشى من العتب وتخفي الذنب عن خلقي وتأبى في الهوى قربي فتب مما جنيت عسى تعود إلى رضا